very keen in observing things. For example, I was doing one reaction in my postdoctoral work. So my earlier seniors, they used to do the reaction for certain hours. So react to substrates, they react it for 8 hours, work it up and go forward. Now, when I was asked to do some kind of a research like that, I followed the reaction. So every hour, what happens to the reactants. So I found that you don't need 8 hours for that reaction. It was over in half an hour. So that means there is something is catalyzing the reaction. So that catalyst I found, discovered. Science is picking up, and once you try to give some kind of incentive for scientists in terms of product development or entrepreneurship or something, it will definitely go on. Innovation is something which is new. It is new, which has not been obvious and not there before. So research is something you are trying to explain certain details. I have been a scientist, and I've been training a number of students for PhD as well as for schools. Now we find that catch them young is the slogan. So you have to catch people at the young age so that they will be able to understand or mold themselves to pursue research or pursue some career. Now, with this thing, I would like to go into the slides. I don't know how much time we have, so I will go to the talk directly. Now, fostering research in school classroom, and this research in school classroom is really a thing that is a big thing which people cannot do at that age. But research doesn't mean a very big kind of problem or project or something like that. But it also means searching something which is a common need. Now the world is changing, as you nicely pointed out. Towards not just rote learning, but students are encouraged to ask questions and find answers. And also research builds confidence, curiosity, and confidence, and problem solving skills. So when you go through the process of tackling a problem, you will gain all these kind of experiences. Now this will help children become independent learners. What does research? Okay, research mean at school level. At school level, as I said, it is not the PhD level work. It is simple activities, projects, surveys, experiments, observations. It need not pertain only to science. It can be related to even social studies or mathematics or any other field. What is important is the kind of approach. There should be some kind of a problem, a need. So that need is being addressed apart from the curriculum activities. Now, what happens with the stakeholders when you promote more of this kind of research or findings or something? What happens with the other stakeholders? Who are all the stakeholders? The student, teacher, parent, and of course the public. Now, what happens with the teachers? They are highly pressed for completing their syllabus so that their job is done. And parents, they want their children to learn and also learn something which will help them in this competitive world. Here, the competition means only getting high scores. So when you get high scores, you get a placement very readily, and your career is set. That is what is the current thinking. And the schools, what they can do, they can only coach right now for the syllabus. So whatever is the curriculum frame, they have to cover that one and impart the knowledge to the students. So does that mean that they should not enter into any extra activities? No. What will happen if they go for extra activities, learning something different or learning something new? Now that will give them more exposure, confidence, and also some kind of understanding of the environment and what they can do with any such problems that arise in life. So therefore, a kind of this is, I would think that the school curriculum is a foundation stone for the students in the learning process. They provide all the information necessary for you to think. And the next stage is apply whatever you have learned for a new tackling a new problem. So this is what is the process that one has to take up. And in the schools, the students are young and they are quite inquisitive. They have a lot of energy and they would like to do something which is different. So now how the teachers or the parents or the school are going to cater to this requirement of these youngsters. So the learning as such, as I said, more rote memorization to understanding and application. So now that rote memorization has been the kind of trend all those years when I was also a student. I used to memorize everything, and we had in our college, the first day the professor will teach something, and the next day we will have to go and write the whole thing. So that is how we were trained in those days. But nowadays, that is not enough. You have to understand, feel, and apply. So for that one, you need to have more exposure. Exposure is very much required. Now, the project work, more project work, group work, and presentation. So these are all some of the tools for you to learn extra things and also go forward for inventing or preparing yourself for the future. Now, the most facts on how to think, more focus on how to think. How to think. So that itself is a very big SOP. That is a standard operating procedure for people. How do I think? So you need to have more information for thinking. If you don't have information, you are blank. You don't know what to do. So for that, you have to be fed with information. This is what is done by the routine classroom teaching, where you get more and more of information, which is a foundation for your thinking. And when you think, people used to say, my professor used to say, think in English. If you want to know something in English, expand yourself in that area, you think in English, so that only then you will be able to converse in English or any language for that matter. If you are going to think in Hindi, you think in Hindi, not translate English to Hindi. So that will not give you any kind of free thinking. So think, and the thinking process, you will have to look at what you have learned and what is the need right now, what is the pain point, how are you going to solve that, and how what are the tools that are available for you to do it. What happens here is the teachers can give you only about what is there in the textbooks or a little bit away from that. And the schools are not able to give you much more information or facilities. Many schools, not all the schools. There are certain schools which have got all the modern facilities to train the students. But what is happening now is there are certain activity-based learning also is available. I know in foreign countries, my grandchildren are going for many classes outside the curriculum. They go for some classes and learn robotics and so many things. And here also now that kind of classes come up where people can go and learn something extra than what is taught in the schools. Now, I don't want to elaborate much on this kind of discussion. I would like to go further. Next slide. This is an example of research activities for students. The examples are something like you can have some kind of a project work, some kind of experiments done, and you can observe what is happening and all. I remember when I was in 10th standard, we used to do some kind of chemistry experiments. And that experiment was like flame without fire or fire without flame. Now, how do you do that? So we learned to have some sugar and add some permanganate to that and add a few drops of concentrated sulfuric acid. You will get a fire. So what does that mean? So you can generate fire without the flame without the fire. So now this is because the chemistry is there, which permanganate is getting oxidized. I mean, permanganate releases oxygen, which oxidizes the sugar, and that burns. So this is a very simple experiment, and that gave me interest and enthusiasm to pursue chemistry from that date onwards. And I'm still doing it over 50, 60 years now. So that is the simple beginning in the schools. Even in those days, we had this kind of exhibitions where people are encouraged, students are encouraged to project some exhibits, which is some kind of experiments from science, like volcanoes, producing some volcano and all. So these are all some activities which are done once in a year or something like that, which is not enough nowadays. So next slide. So skills children develop through research. Now, is it required? Uh, Parents may think that why should they do research now at this age, whereas they can probably study for the curriculum and get more marks and be competitive. But then what happens is when you do research, your critical thinking and logical reasoning improves. And then your communication and presentation also, you gain those skills. Teamwork and collaboration. That is very, very important when you are young and trying to learn something new. And of course, there are certain other things also which you can do independently. And finally, you will get confidence to ask questions. So therefore, this kind of a research approach in the schools will help the students, their children to develop themselves. Next slide. Now, how this kind of trend is being cultivated or promoted by the government also in terms of setting up tinkering labs and things like that, ATL. There are other schemes also to help schools to have facilities of laboratories where students can go and do some kind of studies, projects, and gain experience. Role of technology in students. So present day technology is very, very advanced. much more advanced than earlier. And so, so like your virtual labs, videos, and simulations to understand concepts, all these things are the latest knowledge is available. And nowadays, this AI and ChatGPT and Perplex, they are all giving you the information that you want just like that, instantaneous. So the students can gain information very fast. And even nowadays, I find that some students use that to tackle their problems and write up their homeworks. So now AI is very useful in that way, but at the same time, it is also diminishing your creativity. In the sense, you are not able to think the same way in a very logical flow to solve problems. What parents can do to support, they can probably encourage children to ask questions and explore topics. And they can also support project work instead of focusing only on marks. Help children manage time for projects as well as reading. And appreciate efforts. So they will have to appreciate the creative efforts by the students or their children. Common concerns for parents is whether this will affect the performance actually. But my observation is it will actually improve their understanding. Just rote learning will not help because they will forget. So proper understanding there of the subjects, and then is this extra burden, and not, generally it is not an extra burden, it is extra learning will help them in understanding their own curriculum much better. And also give some kind of better, better understanding. And they will become very confident of doing this kind of research work, and they can be good problem solvers in future. Next slide. Challenges school faces the limited time to the exam-focused syllabus and also facilities, infrastructure facilities, and the teacher and the students adapting to new methods, and need for balance between exams and activity-based learning. So all these things are the challenges schools face. Now this means uh, there is a need for some additional or some kind of a bridge between this kind of schools and the other future related activities for gaining more insight into doing research. So that could be intermediary lab or some such facility may be required. This is what I thought. We should aim for learning more interesting and meaningful things. And what is the current situation is many schools introducing projects and activity-based learning. Some schools are more advanced and some are just started. Government policies encourage experimental and inquiry-based learning. Now, this is where I said about the subtle tinkering labs. These are all promoted by the government, and that many schools are probably making use of it. So, yeah, there is a change is happening, but step by step. Next slide. This we have already said. What we should aim for: make learning uh, more meaningful for students. Develop thinking, not just memory and all those stuff. Next slide. Yeah. Now, Asthagiri as the bridge. See, Asthagiri is a foundation which I have started in 2000. And in 2003, I set up the laboratory for helping research people to come and use the lab facilities and do research. Now, we thought even for these students, we could probably school students, they can come to our lab and gain exposure and experience in various day-to-day problems which are very relevant to the situation. Now, what we do here, we connect with the school and real-world problems. Next slide. I'll show you a few examples or case studies how the students are trained in our lab. So the first one is the mango pest problem. So what happens here? One of my neighbors, a small fellow, he went and purchased three mangoes, mango varieties, and he was cutting them and then finding out that two were not affected; they were all good. The third one, he found a weevil coming out of the mango when he cut it. So what does it mean? So the weevil is not visible. In many cases, the infestation will be visible on the fruit. In this case, it is not visible. Gone inside, even when the mango is at a very small stage, goes inside, and then it actually it survives there, completes a cycle, and it feeds only on the kernel and not on the fruit pulp. So now, how do you solve this problem? How can you find out why this mango alone is being infested and not the other two mangoes? That is one issue which we have worked on. Another one is the stored products. So you can see that when you open a packet, which is for some weeks or months, there will be a lot of weevils coming up, or the dal would have been made into a powder form and things like that. How do you control these stored products from the weevil? So that is another issue, which is a very common one. We need to find out some kind of a solution, and we have uh, given this kind of a problem to the students, school students who go to me for projects. And the third one is the face mask, which is a very interesting area. And this I started working on during the COVID time. So let me go through that directly to the face mask. I'm not sure how much time we have for explaining. So I will take it up first. So what happened during COVID? Everybody had to wear mask. Without the mask, you cannot go outside, and even within inside house, everyone had to wear a mask just to protect against the viral. Now, what is the gradation here? There are high quality masks which filter 95% of the microbes. There are roadside masks. Now, how many people can afford to buy the mask which is 95% filter? Now, it is very difficult for people to buy that kind of a costly mask, which also you cannot be having it for as a continuous thing. You have to discard it. So therefore, we want to check what is the relative efficacy of these masks between the high priced, high quality mask to the roadside mask. So we picked up some five, six different types of masks. And then how do you test it? You just wear it and go out wherever you want to go around and come back. We designed an experiment where some five, six people will wear the mask at the same time. They will go around at different places of the home, come back, and we will sample that mask for any microbial contamination. Now we found that the mask with the microbes can be from the outside being filtered and from inside out. So when we breathe out, whatever the bacterial or any other things from our mouth, that will also go and get filtered inside the mask. So you can have the content, the microbial content, both outside and inside of the mask. So see here, these are the splits. These are the different masks that we have taken. And you can see that the normal one which people use in the hospitals and all. So these are different masks, and when we checked the efficacy of these masks, no doubt the costly ones filtered quite well. Then when you take that sample and then culture it, they are also alive. They are viable. They are growing. So what does that mean? You are only filtering the microbes. You are not killing them. So with the result, your mask becomes deadly provider of microbial contamination. So what our people do, they just throw it out. After use, they put it in the dustbin. And from the dustbin, you can again, spread. So therefore, these masks, maybe yes, they can protect you from the microbial entry point, but the microbes are not controlled or killed. They are not disinfected. So the masks are again a potential dangerous sources for contamination or spread of the disease. So now what is required? So we need to find out kind of sanitizer or something which will decompose the microbes or which will destroy the microbes. Now, how can you do that? Alcohol is one simple solution. Can you put the alcohol on the mask and wear it? You cannot, right? So the other one is in Texas somewhere. People were trying to disinfect by heating, increasing the temperature. That again to 70 degrees or 80 degrees, you will have to heat the mask. You will have to have some kind of a thermal stuff. But that again is not possible when you wear the mask. So this is another issue when you want to disinfect microbe for a mask. So we need to develop some kind of a insecticide or a disinfectant or a sanitizer which is non-alcoholic. So that we developed the kind of a product and we wanted to check. And at that time, one student came to me. Next slide. Yeah, this is the one we published this paper in Texas Journal, and we collaborated with Professor Ram Kumar. He is a textile professor. He was so interested in all this kind of masks and other things. So we published this along with him as a collaborator. This paper got the best paper award, and it was also appeared as a cover page of. That was a great contribution. And next slide. So non-hazardous antimicrobial product for safe personal environment. Next slide. So how did we do that? So you can see these masks outside, inside and outside, and the kind of microbes that we get from these two things. So as I told you earlier, these are the problems. These microbes are filtered but alive, both inside and outside of the mask. Next slide. So that's a problem. You need to disinfect them. Next slide. So the scope of this project is to find a good disinfectant and then how to apply it on the surface of the mask. And again, there was another issue like our environment. I am now sitting in this room, and I have, it is a very confined space. Now, if I keep on, breathing without the mask or even with the mask, the microbial load in the air is going to increase. Now, can we use this disinfectant to make the room sterile or personal chamber? You go to the public, telephone booths or even the toll gates where you sit in one small room and find, or even elevators. Even in the elevators, when people go, that's a very small confined space where the microbes will be present. How you can disinfect them by a simple method. Next slide. These are the objectives. Next slide. I mentioned them. See here. Now these are the masks, and this is the fan. This fan can be used for circulating air. You can make this fan with in this atmosphere, throwing it out. So for us to keep your fan at our table, this is portable. This is not a big one. It's a portable. So now, if I am sitting inside a cabin and I need to my atmosphere sterile, at least without much of this microbial contamination, I can use this fan. And now, where that air is sucked, I can have either the filter or something that uh, this there. Now, when the microbial load will come down. We gave this project to the girl and asked her to take it to her apartment complex where they have the lift. So she will be keeping it in the lift up and down. So first she, what is the initial load of microbes in that lift. Later, after half an hour, find out again what happens in the cases. So she did a good job on that, and we could see that this system could readily reduce the microbial load in a confined space. And this mask also can be used so that in the mask we are using only a non-alcoholic, no thermal system to control to disinfect the microbes. So these are the two kinds of prototypes we made, and this is a very good product for entrepreneurs to take it up further. Now, this is not done by a researcher. This is all done by two students who, in their holidays, they come for this project. They were able to achieve this kind of results. Now, I was talking about that mango nut. Can you go back? Yeah. Now, this weevil, I said that these three types of mangoes. One is only affected. And when we took that, the skin and extracted that from all the three types of mangoes and found out this is a chromatography, thin layer chromatography, we call TLC. And here when you check that one, there is one particular compound which is very common in mango. It is called magiperin. This is the molecule. This concentration was less in the mango, which was affected more by the insect. So that means the insects very readily, thrive where this chemical is close. But I'm not satisfied with that result. I just want to find out any other method of, identifying why this weaver chooses one particular time. Next slide. Go back. Let me see whether there is another one there. No. Okay. So what happened is the three mangoes. I took the skin wash, checked by TLC again. We found that in one of these mangoes, there is one particular fatty acid, palmitic acid. That palmitic acid was not present. And if that is not present, it is not affected. So that is why particular mangoes where it is affected is containing this palmitic acid, and what is not affected doesn't have this palmitic acid. So we wanted to check that one, and we actually sprayed the synthetic palmitic acid on the skin. We went around 12 o'clock in the night in a Tirupati orchard in Tirupati University, and we found by using a torch, we found that eggs were laid. That means what happens is when the palmitic acid is there, there is a ovipositor. Ovipositor is a place where these insects go and lay eggs. They lay eggs mainly because that is a point where the insect, when they hatch out, they will get the food. So they think quite a lot. So these mangoes, when it is a small button size, this insect will go, lay egg, push it inside and close it. So when the mango grows big, you will not be able to see the hole, but the insect will be growing inside. So now you have a method of using palmitic acid to do that one, or remove that palmitic acid. So mango surface will be free of this attractant. With this stored product I told you, one student, again he came, he was only a 7th standard student, and he wanted to do some project. I said, okay, why don't you use this and find out some kind of track? Because you have a small vessel. It is not a very big warehouse or something where you keep a lot of crates, tons of crates. But here, this is at home. You have only about a liter or 2 liters. What do you do? How do you control this water? So I told him there are several traps that are made with some kind of a holes at the surfaces, cylindrical one, and cone type, or rather it is like a stump with a cone type. So on the top of that stem, you will have some holes. The insect will go crawl and then fall inside. Once they fall inside, it will not come out. So this guy, he just took one pen, somewhat with a thicker, about 1 centimeter. So he took that pen and made some holes and brought it. I see that the rhizoperca, the rice weevil, they were so tiny they were able to go inside that hole and get trapped. So this one. Another one is this goose that lays the golden egg. So you know about the story. A goose that is laying a golden egg every day will lay one egg per day. But that fellow was very greedy and he killed the goose and then got only one egg. So we are now killing the herbs, not using their potential for long-term source of healthy product. Now, what do I mean by that? Herbs, through their roots, they can secrete a certain amount of proteins and other healthy chemicals, which we can harvest. We don't have to take it out and cut it or something like that. You can simply harvest from the roots. Root solutions is what we call rhizosecretion. So this rhizosecretion for any herb, any kind of a plant, which can release certain beneficial chemicals, can be harvested and you can make a drink out of it and keep drinking every day. So that was the concept of rhizosecretion, and this can be done in a hydroponics technology. This small guy, yeah, this fellow, he did that kind of a thing in his school, hydroponics, and he used some onion, grew that in water medium, and found that solution, that liquid had antimicrobial activity. So that was the kind of inspiration he got from this one. So I think we are coming to the close of the talk, and this one is the oral. This oral care using native tree products. This guy came from US, and his schools, see, in US they have some kind of a program that if some student is able to do some kind of project and publish a paper, we give them some yearly advancement. They can finish their graduation early. So that is why this person came to me and he wanted to do a project. And I told him at that time I was working on this microbial stuff and all. I thought, okay, let us go for mouth, mouth freshener or mouth clean. Now in India, we use this Terminalia cebula. This Kadika, we call it. Terminalia cebula is being used for mouthwash. Now I thought, why not we give Terminalia cebula is not available in US. So I told him to get this oak wood. Oak tree is available there. So I told him, get oak wood. So you're right. And he took paints and brought it from somewhere from US and one block of this wood, and we started making. We made a product, a mouthwash using the oak wood powder, and that did very good job. It was really good. And actually, when I went into the literature to see, is there any real finding with this kind of oak wood, I found lots and lots of reports where this oak wood powder was used in toothpaste. And so that really was a good invention for us. He published this paper also in a journal. So that gave him a good standing in his school, and he got a yearly promotion. Excellent. This is another young fellow who was interested in marketing the products, and he knew now more about products that we are selling. So this is the kind of inspiration he gets for understanding the product and selling out. Next slide. So the beverage marketing, we have that beverage. So not only making a product and using it for certain applications, you can also go for marketing. What is the concept for marketing? You can make the product, but how will you sell it? So that this guy was able to find out some kind of a strategy for selling the products, and he called our products as, a kind of a shop which is Sima's Chow, where you can sell your products, soap or something like that. So now Asthagiri is able to connect with the real research problems and solutions. We always looking for the common problems that are happening, and we try to find some kind of a solution. And when the students come, we discuss with them. We tell them these are all the areas available for you to work on it. And some of them show interest in entomology, some show in microbiology, some are interested in chemistry, things like that. So we try to guide them through. And our aim is always to bring out some kind of a note, some paper, so that they will have some kind of satisfaction of having done something fantastic, better than what their friends are doing. So something we are trying to link the students with the depth problems, and that is the way we are promoting research in students.
In many schools, we have seen that lab experiments are set as a demo, which is done by the teacher and not as an activity for the students. Is it because of the risk involved in use of chemicals or because of the cost considerations?
It is probably the risk involved. Cost considerations can be overcome, but the risk is very much, because once the students are not trained to handle certain chemicals, it can lead to accidents. So that is the main reason, and cost is secondary. That's my uh, feeling, but I
Yes.
think it is valid also, because I have seen even now, even graduates, postgraduates, their handling of the chemicals are not really good. So they have to be trained. So we need to have a training session even for the freshers, fresh graduates also. So school students, they are still young, they are playful, and if something happens, that will be disastrous.
Yes, sir, we understand that. Sir, research is a complicated process. So, should we teach the basic process of setting out a problem, how to formulate hypothesis, etc., or development of critical thinking and curiosity is sufficient?
The main thing I have noticed is the observation. When you go and look at certain things, what you observe, and that observation, you have to be very keen in observing things. For example, I was doing one reaction in my postdoctoral work. So my earlier seniors, they used to do the reaction for certain hours. So react to substrates, they reacted for 8 hours, work it up and go forward. Now, when I was asked to do some kind of a research like that, I followed the reaction. So every hour, what happens to the reactants. So I found that you don't need 8 hours for that reaction. It was over in half an hour. So that means there is something is catalyzing the reaction. So that catalyst I found, discovered. So that is the observation and that is a discovery. That led to almost 4 PhDs. So my main content is people should observe whatever they do. Initially, you may even do routine things, and even in routine things, you can observe something new, something different. So when you really observe something different, catch on it and elaborate it. So that way, you can go and finish your PhD research material quite fast. I did my research in 2.5 years. And I never made any of my students to go beyond 3 years. They will all complete their work in 2.5 years to 3 years with good publications also. So the success is mainly because of your observations and extrapolating that observation. Does it answer you?
Yes, yes, sir. Thank you so much for that well explained answer. So, is simulation based learning a substitute for actual lab experiments?
Which one?
Is simulation based learning a substitute for actual lab experimentations?
No, it is not a substitute. It is an additional factor. It gives you more probably kind of options to choose or something like that, but it is definitely not by itself substitute. It is required, it is additional.
Thank you, sir. So, in the past 3 decades, importance was given in careers to engineering and technology and medicine, and not to basic sciences. So, how can we attract more students to basic sciences?
Well, I am a basic science student.
Yeah, but in the last 3 decades, this has been in focus, right? Engineering and medicine.
It is all driven by the economy, not because of science or any such thing. But there are certain people who are really curious and passionate about science, and they still take science. Even the top students, they go for science. But engineering, because it provides them a job and opportunities, other opportunities, they feel that it is, I mean, they are lured by that. So science is picking up, and once you try to give some kind of incentive for scientists in terms of product development or entrepreneurship or something, it will definitely go on. Even now, number of patents are being filed for science discoveries or inventions. Many products are being developed, and so that is the joy. That is the you get more happiness in that one.
So, how do we distinguish between So were you to speak up something?
No, no. The happiness, the science students we will have to motivate. That's why I said catch them young.
Mm.
So school students, if you just show them all this kind of problems and then solutions, and they solve that themselves, and they will get more interested in science. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Sir, how do we distinguish between innovation and research as applied basic sciences?
Innovation is something which is new, which has not been obvious and not there before. So research is something you are trying to explain certain details, why it is happening, and finding out the reasons for that. So that is the research activity. And innovation is during your research activity, something serendipity happens. That is innovation.
Sir, can
Like,
you talk about, yeah, yes, sir. So sorry.
like I said, that the catalyst I discovered or
Yeah.
I invented, that became an invention and we took a patent on it. Actually, my professor was a Nobel laureate, so he just took my study there and he filed a patent. And we got a patent also. That was a very simple observation, which was not obvious for the same people in the field, but we were able to, explore that.
So I was actually about to ask you about your experience with Nobel laureate Brown.
Okay. Yeah, it was a fantastic experience, and the moment I joined him, he is a very good administrator. He will put the person under some senior student so that you will learn all the techniques. First, he will have to get convinced about your working skills. If your skills are adequate, as evidenced by your senior's work, and you repeat that and you show that one, then he has confidence, and then he gives you some projects which you will take it up, and maybe initially work with a senior and then you can work on your own. So that's how initially I worked with one of my seniors, and then after he left, I was doing my research on my own, and that is where, see, I was able to combine, because that was not my PhD work actually. I did my PhD here in Madras University along with Professor N. Venkata was my guide. He was a kinetics person. So I did kinetics here. So that kinetic study and that exposure and experience helped me in doing synthetic chemistry using kinetics. So that's a blend of physical organic chemistry and synthetic chemistry. So when I did that thing together, I got a lot of new results. That's what helped me in gaining more publications with H.C. Brown, and he was very happy about our contributions. So yes, it is that is one thing. And second thing is, the moment he got his Nobel Prize, we were all elated, you know. So Nobel laureates, associates, and things like that. The whole university people used to look at us with surprise. And back home in India, everybody was, trying to associate themselves with me and then with H.C. Brown because of that association connection. So they will say, yeah, my friend is working for a Nobel laureate. So that's a great feeling, yeah.